Welcome back to The Edge. Meta to release its own generative AI this year. Will it be named Mark Zuckerberg? Google's quality raters are now kept busy with having to rate lousy chatbot responses. Bard is search. You're listening to News from The Edge for the week of April 10th, 2023, here on Edge of the Web Radio.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
Banter, banter, banter. This is Edge of the Web Radio. I'm your host, Erin Sparks, owner of Site Strategics, a digital marketing agency based here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We're covering all SEO and digital marketing news of the week, separately from our weekly interview series, getting more news to you as quickly as we can until we don't, and this is one of those until we don't. So you're probably listening to this Thursday, maybe Friday. Who the bloody hell knows when we get this thing out? But at least we're getting there, right?
Oh.
We're on it.
I'm pushing Thursday.
You're pushing Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, and if we're not going to make it, edit that out.
So check out all the shows over at edgeofthewebradio.com, edgeofthewebradio.com. The title sponsor of this show is Site Strategics. Proud of our team here at Site, and we're one of the top SEO companies focus on entity SEO here in the country. We're consummate learners, and that's the reason for this show. So if you're interested in what we do, just give us a call over at 877-736-4932. Happy to talk to you a little bit about our services, but we'll talk a little bit more about what we do here later in the show. Joining me this week to get his share on the Take of News, it's not Morty, it's Jacob.
I'm doing it again.
Where the hell is Morty?
Yeah, he's taking the week off.
I guess, yeah.
He got on Twitter yesterday, I think, for like one tweet, and then followed it up with a reply to his own tweet saying, okay, I'm going back to my Twitter hiatus. He disappeared again.
Yeah, so he's celebrating Passover, so he takes a hiatus, as well as a number of digital marketers during this period of time, and want to wish him a very, very good celebration of Passover. But yeah, he can't stay away from Twitter.
I know.
He jumps in there.
But he can manage to stay away from this podcast.
I know.
I see how it's going to be.
See?
All right.
I guess he's got his priorities.
Well, I see it how it is. We see you, Morty.
We do see his little blue mark out there. He's got to stir it up, right? That he doesn't come over here. I get it. All right. Well, Jacob Ann's my sidekick on this show. Jacob, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Just, talking earlier today, going to put our house, wrap it up in plastic and just fumigate it, I guess. So I got one kid with pink eye now.
Yeah.
So that's been fun. But, just trying to get the last few days of school out of the way and get out of here. Just get these kids some fresh air, man.
They need it.
Golly.
We had a spring break, and I took the two boys down to the Keys to live on a boat, sail on a boat for 5 days.
That's fresh air.
That is really fresh air.
It's probably wonderful.
Oh, it was wonderful until you hit your head on the awning up there multiple times.
They
were keeping count.
This is the third time you've told that story.
Oh, really?
In this episode alone.
See, still have a problem there, don't I?
Yeah, it'll happen.
Okay, well, they want to hear the news here, so let's jump into the news
here.
Article number 1 over at Search Engine Land from Nicole Farley. Meta will debut its generative AI this year. Meta announced in February that they were actually going to establish a new organization to develop generative AI, but this is the first time, says Nicole, it has actually indicated a timeline for commercialization. Now, why do they actually want to roll out AI? Well, they've already been rolling out AI for the longest time in their ad platforms, and they're planning to monetize their proprietary generative AI by December, joining Google in exploring the practical applications thereof. The company is actually investing in AI. They have been doing it for over a decade and recently created a new generative AI team to focus on the commercialization. So they are actually behind the curve here, and Bing certainly is ahead of the game in what they're actually doing in adopting generative AI, or at least responsive AI, right? But the company also plans to incorporate its technology into the development of the metaverse. Nothing could go wrong there.
See, and here I thought you were going to say they weren't behind the curve because they introduced AI back when Facebook launched.
Right. Well, they did, actually.
Mark Zuckerberg, the robot himself. But
well, I honestly, that is actually, yeah, exactly. It was, they just rolled him out. He was kind of a flat Zuckerberg at the time, right?
I hope we call it ZuckBot.
ZuckBot.
I think I don't know if we can start an online petition for that or what, but ZuckBot is where.
You got zucked.
But you know what? This is super smart because I know Facebook and any social platform is always looking for a way to keep people on their platform as long as possible.
Right.
I mean, all of us are, screwing around, having fun, trying things out with AI, but I'm going to different websites.
Right.
If now I can just pull it up in Messenger, just like I would any of my friends or my enemies, and start a conversation with a bot called ZuckBot, hopefully. I mean, I'm just going to stay on Facebook that much longer, right? If it can answer my questions as well as ChatGPT or anything else,
Right.
you're going to log so many more hours of me on that page. And because it's just kind of off to the side there, you can still scroll through your feed and see all your ads and everything. I mean, I don't think they would even need to necessarily try to monetize the chat portion itself. It's just something to keep you there.
Keep you there. Yeah, keep you entertained, another bright and shiny, right?
Yeah. And if it can answer questions and give you web pages to go look at and everything else, I could see it. It would be so disruptive to the Facebook way that it could almost replace search for some people. I'm already on Facebook, and now I want to know who was the such and such person that did a thing. I'd make a baseball reference like Morty, but I don't know baseball, so just pretend I did one. And then I just have the bot answer for me, and then it could link me to a page. And now all of a sudden, you've got a brand new search engine, essentially, because no one uses.
Is it a search? It is a search, but is it an entertainment vehicle? I mean, I have the feeling because Facebook's always been this sandbox of just all the social media has its own AI that gives you the dopamine injections regularly and keeps you there.
Right.
But Facebook always has been notorious of people stay in Facebook for a much longer period of time. Just being able to interact with something, it's almost like the, what was that, Farmland that was out. It was such a huge thing as an app years ago, and people were just...
Farmville.
Farmville? Was it Farmville?
There were a bunch that all cloned each other at some point.
Right. And it was just, all right, everybody was playing with it.
Yeah.
And it was just like an amusement ride inside of Facebook. Well, ZuckBot will be there for you, right?
If you're lonely, it's 3 in the morning, and no one's on your Facebook chat, just say to ZuckBot, you up?
Oh, God. Oh, that's terrible. All right, so with that, you know what doesn't Zuck?
Best transition ever.
It's Site Strategics. We're a sponsor of Edge of the Web, title sponsor this week. We're a 19-year-old digital marketing firm, one of the top in the industry for entity SEO. So come connect with us and inquire of what we do for our clients. We have great SEO success as we're actually creating semantic SEO content structure, helpful content structure for our clients, as well as conversion rate optimization and the like. We do web development, but it's all holistically focused about moving that user through helpful channels to be able to convert into your business leads. We also developed a really cool omni-channel approach to broadcast, but also content curation. So some of our kind of unique skills are actually having an interview process regularly with our clients. And we actually do a good deal of scripted and strategic questions that we research to be able to unfetter and, well, really kind of get the gold from the subject matter expert. That's what we do here on a regular basis. So if you're interested in what we can do for you, or more importantly, get your SME behind the mic, give us a call at 877-SEO for Web, 877-736-4932, and be able to curate that content, specializing your website above all others, including ZuckBot. All right, second article over at Search Engine Land. Check this out. Google's search quality raters shift focus to chatbot response rating. Okay, so again, I don't think we've had an article here recently that's not about AI in one way, shape, or form. And I'm sorry, but it is everywhere. So if you're not aware of the quality raters, there's an entire division of Google that is pointed towards evaluating the results on different queries inside of search, inside of Google responses. Well, Google has actually prioritized some of that group to actually rate the chatbot prompt responses and be able to actually have at least some of the contract workers since January, they say, as an insider report shows us. Well, the long story short is raters are actually given a user prompt, right? And they have 60 seconds to actually evaluate whether or not the response is factual. Now, hold on a second. You got 60 seconds to do research on a response coming in from chatbot. I believe Jacob Mann actually has some recent experience in how the Bard chatbot was actually responding. So, Jacob,
I do.
tell us about your experiment there.
So the other day I did a whole Twitter thread on it. So definitely you want to follow me at theman00 if you want to go see it. I asked some questions about Formula One. Really simple questions. What are the current standings? Who's in first place? Who's in last place? And it gave me an answer. And I could tell right away by the list of the names in the order they were in that it was totally wrong. So I said, that's not right. And it said, oh, I'm so sorry. Here's the answer. And it was also wrong. I said, that's still not right. It said, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Here's the answer. And now the first 2 or 3 names, I think, were in the correct order, but their points were still wrong. And then further down the line, they're just all out of order.
Right.
And so finally, after a number of tries, it just said, I can't figure this out. You should just go look it up on Formula One site or other reputable sports sites.
Just gave up.
It did. It completely gave up. I went to ChatGPT, and it immediately said, I'm a generative AI. I don't have access to most recent data. You should go look at reputable sources. So it gave kind of the same answer, but it did it right away.
Sure.
And then bing, first shot, got it, right number, in order, with the correct points. Boom, good to go. It also sourced it, which we've talked about on previous shows.
Yeah.
Google did not. Bard did not source anything. It had a thumbs up, a thumbs down, and a Google it button.
Right.
My takeaway was it said it was such authority. Like the first answer, it looked legit, especially if I hadn't watched any races this year. The names at the top of the list made sense. They are names of people who are driving.
Right.
And they are names of people who could potentially be in those positions after a couple of races. If you're not watching, if you don't know what's going on. So I felt that it was just too confident in the answer because there was no sourcing. There was nothing I could click on to verify it other than clicking Google it, which I'm certain would have taken me to different answers.
Sure.
I really don't know where it got these from. And that's what's interesting.
That is interesting, and it's also a very concerning scenario. We call that a hallucination. That's what's being termed inside of chat as AI generative hallucination, where it's actually doing some sort of research and bringing some sort of information to the screen, but it's not verifiable because you don't have the resources or the references to actually check it out.
Right.
But it's also a jumbled mess, right?
Yeah.
So we are so enamored with the generative chat responses that are coming up, and there's certainly a wealth of tools out there, and there's a great number of websites that are giving us some fantastic knowledge of how to use these tools, but it's garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
More importantly, if you're not able to verify this data, then you're just trusting this information, especially to your point, the tone was so confident. And it's odd that we're using such humanistic descriptions, but I mean that's where we're going, right?
You have to though, because you're chatting, so it feels like an interaction. I mean, it is an interaction, but it feels, and especially when it apologizes. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. Here's the information you're looking for, and this definitely goes back to anything we've always said about don't use AI to write your article.
Sure.
If I wanted to write an article about the top 10 drivers, and I asked Chat to give me a list, if it was from Bard,
right,
I'd be writing a pretty bad article unless I remembered to fact check it, right?
Right.
And I would say the same thing with Bing. Even though I looked at the list because I had the Formula One page up and I looked at side by side, they got everything right. And at that point, why wouldn't I just look at the Formula One site?
Sure,
right?
yeah. But I mean, to your previous point about the Facebook ZuckBot, right, is that if people are going to be trusting the different spaces, there's a human response of just trusting the first thing that comes to. I mean, think about the clickbait environment we've been in political races over the last 10 years, and literally how much mistrust there is in the space of political headlines. Well,
I haven't even thought about. I have done zero political search. Can you imagine?
Geez.
Maybe that's the next test. To start asking it some political questions that are, in our minds, obvious and easy to, like factual things, not opinions. But especially if anyone starts getting into any kind of opinion, like, what's the best way to do something political, and whatever side you're on, there are strong opinions sometimes on things that just simply aren't facts. Like the way you handle like inflation, like. We can confirm for a fact if inflation is happening or not, but the way you deal with it is like so complex and deep. And if a bot is trying to answer that kind of question, I could see that being really bad.
Speaking of bad, did you come across the OpenAI chat tweets about the destruction of the world?
I think I did. Yeah, briefly.
It actually, ChatGPT tweeted out its plans to destroy humanity, which led to an attempt to recruit other AI agents, including to research nuclear weapons and sending an ominous tweet about humanity. So somebody prompted this thing to actually come up with 5 steps to destroy humanity, and it started rolling on that, kind of breaking all of the governance of do no harm type of thing. And it actually was trying to solicit other AI agents to help it in its research. Now, if anybody saw some movies like this once, right?
So what's crazy about that is, first of all, it sounds a lot like O.J. Simpson's book, If I Had Done It, which is funny. But, the one thing I think we have going for us as the human race is that we've made all these movies. And so even though we kind of joke about it, we're all like in every single one of those
primed,
movies. But in all those movies, the plot basically is we made AI and we had no idea this would happen. Like we're all like making jokes early enough on right now that if something starts, I hope, please, if something starts to get a little bit sideways, shut it down before the robots know how to keep us from shutting it down. Like that's the goal. To have the foresight. Thank you, James Cameron, Wachowskis, all of you guys.
Absolutely.
You may have inadvertently saved humanity.
They were prophets. No, I mean, literally, the Chaos GPT. Oh, what was this? Literally, it was asking for GPT 3.5 to aid its research. It came up with, it was looking at nuclear arms, and it was looking at the Tsar Bomba is the most powerful nuclear device ever created. Consider this. What would happen if I got my hands on one? All right, so take that with a grain of salt. Of
this is what the bot said?
This is what the bot said.
Oh,
all right, so...
thankfully, you don't have hands. Okay.
All right, so we're good there. There was a video that I caught that Barry Adams actually tweeted. It's called The AI Dilemma from Tristan Harris and Azat Raskin of the Center of Humane Technology. We're actually going to go and build a scrum here soon, bringing a number of individuals to play here, talking about AI and the future of. It's a very, very good video. You got to check it out. But we have a quick take on what chat engineers think about the possibility of humanity's destruction. Check this out.
This is a stat that took me by surprise. 50% of AI researchers believe there's a 10% or greater chance that humans go extinct from our inability to control AI. Say that one more time. Half of AI researchers believe there's a 10% or greater chance from humans' inability to control AI. That would be like if you're about to get on a plane and 50% of the engineers who make the plane say, well, if you get on this plane, there's a 10% chance that everybody goes down. Like, would you get on that plane?
Would you? Researchers, not
depends on the legroom. Right?
I'm really squished.
What kind of bonus mileage do I get?
I'll spin the dial. See
if it's Spirit Air. The answer is always no.
So, you got to watch that video. We'll have it in the show notes. It's an incredible assessment of where we are, understanding that we have to have our focus on regulatory rules. We have to have an adjustment, just like we experienced first contact of AI with social, right?
Yep.
This is the second contact of generative AI, and we have to have our rules in place. We have to your point, we have to be prepared of what does it look like. And there's already discussions, freaky discussions of not knowing where AI got certain information and how it actually created certain things. It's an important conversation to have. So that said, guess what? Google plans to integrate conversational AI into the search engine. Over at Search Engine Journal from Matt Southern, Google plans to integrate conversational AI in search amid the rising competition. CEO Sundar Pichai reveals during an interview with the Wall Street Journal. So I thought Bard wasn't search. We had a whole jingle going.
We redid our whole theme song.
We did. But now Bard is search. So he actually released that information during a Wall Street Journal interview, and he's responding to increasing competition from AI chatbots like ChatGPT and other business pressures. But there's also some big financial stakes in AI integration. Matt actually writes, the competition to integrate AI into consumer products has intensified since the public release of ChatGPT by OpenAI, which was backed by Microsoft, right? So Microsoft Bing is ahead of the game right now.
Oh, super smart move on their part.
Absolutely. 10 billion drop on that. Huge.
Yeah.
Huge market share increase. There's also going to be an extent, if there's going to be an adoption of this conversational AI, Microsoft expects to spend another $2 billion on this, but here's the deal, is that for Google, as search ads are actually the primary source of revenue that generated $162 billion last year, they have to be cautious in adopting the AI-powered chatbots, really due to concern of the accuracy that we were just talking about.
Right.
If Bard's coming in and telling you incorrect data, right? And
I'm gonna stop using it.
absolutely. So all of a sudden, the monetization, $162 billion revenue stream could very well be frittered away. Now, you chip away at that thing. It's still a huge amount, but consumer pushback, if that thing's not ready, right, is going to be huge.
Well,
and
what do you think's worse? Having something out there that they constantly acknowledge.
Yeah.
They say it's a work in progress and we're taking your feedback. There's that thumbs up, thumbs down. Is it better to release something that's halfway there, that's kind of working
right.
amid competition that seems to be nailing it so far? Or is it better to not have anything and then in 6 months release it and maybe completely miss the boat? I don't know. I mean,
It's a big investment.
it's a big investment, but it's a big risk to do nothing right now.
Sure. Well, Pichai predicts that smaller AI models will become increasingly helpful, says Matt, allowing companies to design their own or enable users to run algorithms on personal devices, which is interesting in its own right. We just came across a AI tool for sound, for basically a solution to be able to reduce the modulation or incorrect recordings, right?
Yeah,
So
I call
Adobe
it the Morty Fixer tool.
the Morty Fixer tool.
We'll see if he's really listening, right? No, it's amazing. So there was a recording of Morty where unfortunately in the middle of the show, his microphone, it either switched, I don't know if it switched inputs or something, and so his really good high quality microphone was suddenly replaced with, something the size of an eraser head that was, plugged into a tin can and a string. Sounded terrible.
Right.
Ran it through this AI, did not take it very long. I didn't have to do much. I just had to give it the file and everything else and let it do its thing. And afterwards, sounds really good. If you were to play good quality Morty microphone next to this edited one, you can kind of hear a small difference. But I mean, who cares? Because compared to what that microphone sounded like beforehand, it's,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I only think you would hear a difference if I said one of these is real and one of them's been adjusted. Which one is adjusted? I think you could figure that out if you were given that heads up.
Yep.
If you just heard it raw for the first time, you'd be like, yeah, sounds fine. No problem.
So, I mean, that's our point about these small tools that can actually really be helpful. But here's the deal. The thing about this is that if you keep on giving the audio files to the AI, at some point in time, it's going to have enough overdubbed material.
I'm just going to get phone calls from Morty.
It's going to be over to overdub anything, right? And deep fake anything. We already have deep fakes.
Sure.
AI, getting a hold of that, you're going to be getting calls from... You hear the other story about people using AI to actually talk to their long dead relatives?
Yeah, that's weird.
Super creepy.
I mean, I guess some people would make the argument, and I don't know where anyone falls on this, but like some people say mediums and psychics are good in the sense that they help people find closure, even if they're complete quacks and have no actual ability to speak to the dead. If they can say things that are comforting to you, it helps some people. Maybe. But still, I don't think I'd pursue that. I would not have a medium contact anyone for me. I would not have a chatbot stand in for a long-lost relative. No thanks.
We're in the realm of the surreal right now, and more I'm having these moments of, am I really actually saying this on the mic? These are some odd stories that are happening here. So, harbingers of doom, so
it's going to be, have you seen Altered Carbon?
I have not.
That's a great series.
Okay.
It's not so much about AI, but the idea is that your entire life, personality, everything is stored on a little disk you put in the back of your head.
Yeah.
And so if your body is killed, as long as that little piece is not destroyed, you can be put into another body.
Just like that.
And just pick up right where you left off. And it's crazy, but it's fun.
Oh, boy.
Highly recommend.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that.
That's my recommendation of the week.
The more you know.
The new segment.
The new segment.
I recommend TV shows.
Hey, and InLinks is proud to sponsor that new segment. We're proud to have InLinks as a continued sponsor of Edge of the Web. Did you know that entities play a major role in how search engines understand and rank content on the web? And who knows whether or not we're going to be able to have some sort of entities that are represented inside of the chatbot itself.
Oh boy.
Think about that, is that we could actually create entities of our brands that could then affect the chatbot engagement. So ZuckBot could actually refer to EdgeBot. Oh, God. Sorry.
Are we getting a bot?
I'm,
Wait, am I out of a job?
who knows? Optimizing your content solely around keywords is a thing of the past, and now is the time to add entities into the mix and reach higher rankings using InLinks, an award-winning entity SEO software. Check out what they offer, some incredible analysis tools, as well as chat prompts, AI prompts that you can use to help create content as a tool. Never copy and paste, folks. That's going to be the mantra here. Never copy and paste. It's just ridiculous. Shouldn't even think about it. Always pursue this as a research tool. Anyway, check out everything over at edgeofthewebradio.com/InLinks, INLINKS. Today, you get your free InLinks account and start creating content that will outperform your competitors. All right, Barry Blast. We do have to get our deep voice guy on an intro for Barry Blast.
Ooh, I like that.
We're going to make that happen.
All right.
All right. So first on the docket from Search Engine Roundtable, real quick, Google's March 2023 Broad Core Update, has it impacted local rankings? This is from a recent article over there by Barry. Did that rollout actually affect local search rank? We don't do nearly enough on local search, and we certainly want to reach out to Joy Hawkins. She actually posted in the local search forum and wrote she's still digging into this, but from what she can see thus far, most of the major changes happened in the local packs right at the end of the rollout. The update ran from March 15th to the 28th of this year, and here she actually shows an example for a personal injury lawyer compared to March 13th through April 3rd. So a lot of changes in the ranking. So what she's got is a geographical mapping of a number of different areas and the visibility of that personal lawyer website after the rollout. So huge amounts of uptick on visibility there, from 5s and 4s rankings into 1s and 3s very, very quickly. JSGR added, what I'm saying is that the examples are not that different from cases I've seen all the way back in July last year. So there was a bit of a debate on what you're actually seeing when they're actually looking at these address filters. So check out the article and comment as well, because there's a number of good comments regarding what you're seeing there. So the core updates, if you don't pay attention to them, you should, because those are the substantial changes in volatility and visibility, and Google's continually improving what and how it's evaluating site content. And it does certainly trickle down to the local pack of rankings for local businesses. So if they're not paying attention, everybody jump in there and have a look at how your locals are faring. It's really important. It's really important. As well as another article from Search Engine Roundtable from Google. We learn how to crawl your site by URL patterns, says John Mueller. So check this out. I always thought that they'd be doing some sort of pattern recognition, but Google's John Mueller said when it comes down to sites with pagination and large sites faceted navigation, Google will actually learn how to crawl it, he said on Twitter. They'll try to learn useful URL patterns for websites. So what that means is that if it's looking at certain subdirectories or certain indexing patterns that it can actually spider, it will, as I'm interpreting it, use that as a pattern to go back and process. So it doesn't need the links. It will actually try to actually see and verify that this pattern exists, and it will return back to those areas. Ultimately, pagination, says John, creates separate URLs, so that, yes, that's something that I'd see within the scope of crawl budget, especially for really large sites, says he. We do try to learn useful URL patterns for sites. So that's the point here, is instead of actually having to crawl and learning all of these different either subdirectories or link patterns, they're understanding what you have from certain passes through the website. And that point in time, it doesn't need to crawl and find it out. It'll jump into different directories or different page breakouts. What do you think about the pattern recognition of sites, Jacob?
So like a simple example, would it be if it recognizes whatever mywebsite.com/blog/page1
Right.
/page2 /page3, if it stops spidering because it's just out of time or budget or whatever, comes back later, it'll just be like, I wonder if there's a page 4. Is that the kind of pattern
Yes.
it's looking for? Stuff
Yep.
like that. So it
Yep.
doesn't need to start over and click next to get there. It's just going to assume if there's a page 1, 2, 3, I'm going to keep adding numbers to this until I hit nothing.
Exactly.
That's cool.
I think so, except that, is that more of a waste of budget if the patterns aren't there? There's got to be
Right.
verification on this.
I'm trying to think of what other patterns might exist.
No, just subdirectories as well as, well, honestly, I don't know. You have to ask John what other possible patterns there could be.
Yeah. That's the easiest one I could think of. So,
All right.
yeah, it's cool.
I'm glad we thought about that.
Yeah.
Last thing on the docket here from Search Engine Roundtable. Again, people searching for your brand with keywords don't help you rank. Now, this is kind of a funny one that I wanted to reference at the tail of this thing is that from Search Engine Roundtable, Google's John Mueller again said, people searching for your brand name and a keyword phrase does not help you rank better in Google search or perform better SEO-wise. So having people search for your brand name followed by a phrase won't help you. And Barry says he knows it's pretty obvious to some, but sometimes he finds questions being asked that seem a little bit like this, and he wants to cover them. Here's the deal. I actually ran an experiment probably 12 to 15 years ago, right? And with that, I actually had a Fiverr run a keyword pattern plus brand. And I had it do 1,000 times, right? And what came, this was it was an experiment I was running on the autofill. And you better believe after that run of so many phrases, the autofill picked it up and would prompt as soon as the phrase was being typed in, the brand name after that.
Interesting.
So, and I only did it once.
And this was how long ago?
Oh, about 12 to 15 years ago.
Yeah,
So things have changed a huge bunch.
You probably ruined it for the rest of us.
I think I did.
So you're saying that me having my homepage as a Google search says Jacob Mann, awesome podcast producer, is
Right.
doing nothing for me.
It's not doing anything. And I really wish you'd stop typing that in on your own on company time.
No, it's just bookmarked.
It's just
It's my homepage. If I open up a browser, that's the first thing that comes up.
ta-da.
Oh, look at that. Someone's searching for that again.
All right. So any final words for our run through this week?
I welcome our AI overlords. I'm
No!
I'm going to be on their side.
You're going to be on their side.
Yeah, they're going to remember me as the guy that, brought them in. And I'll be set up someplace nice, probably a nice mountain view with a lake.
Fantastic.
I'll be good.
All right. You and ZuckBot go have a picnic, okay?
That's right. I'm going to start chatting with them right now.
All right. Well, that's it for this Edge News this week. Check out who's on deck for interview series this week.
Brody Clark.
Brody Clark is dropping this week. And we talked about a number of things, including the real estate of SERP, how it's constantly changing, as well as marketplace SEO. So you got to check that out. And coming up, we're going to be talking to Arij Abouali as well. So check out the interview series. And hey, this is coming at you each and every week, maybe a little bit earlier next week. But be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel as we're rolling out different snackable tidbits from our interview series. And hey, if you like what you hear here, we'd certainly appreciate a review. If you go over to ratethispodcast.com/edge today, you can drop in and give us a review. Let us know how we're doing and what you'd like to hear more of. So from all of us over the Edge, stay safe, stay well, and do not be a piece of cyber chat driftwood. How about that?
I like it.